When using the Panasonic AG-AC160P camera, there are many things that you need to know. For starters, in order to record on the new Panasonic cameras, you must have a Class 6 or higher SD card. It's recommended that you purchase a 32GB SD card because it can hold 2 hours of high-definition video or 4 hours of standard-definition video. So let's start with turning the camera on. The camera on and off switch is located on the right side of the camera. Hold down the lock release button and move the power switch to on. The playback mode is also on the same switch, which allows you to record or view your recorded clips. The red button in the center is to record and pause. In order to choose between standard definition and high definition recording, press the menu button located above the toggle switch. First, we will discuss using high definition. Using the toggle switch, toggle down to Recording Setup and toggle right to select it. If you desire to shoot high definition, then choose AV-CHD mode. It's also recommended that you select 1080-60i. When done selecting it, close the menu by pressing the menu button. In order to choose standard definition, press the menu button, toggle down to Recording Setup, then select it, toggle to DV and select it. For standard definition, you need to record in 480-60i. When finished selecting the recording mode, close the menu by pressing the menu button. If you need to change between HD and SD, the camera will need to be restarted to apply the new settings. While pressing the lock release, move the power switch to the off position. Wait a few seconds and then turn the camera back on. On the upper left side of the camera toward the back is the scene file switch. When shooting your clips, make sure to have the F1 setting as your scene option. This is used for normal shooting and what will be used for class assignments. F2 is used for fluorescent lighting. F3 is used for fuller variations of resolution, color, and contrast. F4 stretches the contrast of the dark parts of your shot, such as sunsets. F5 is for shooting movie-like scenes where the contrast is emphasized. And finally, F6 is used for shooting movie-like scenes where the dynamic range is emphasized. The LCD screen opens up to 90 degrees and allows you to flip the display around if needed. The camera also has two internal microphones that are located on the top of the camera at the front. They are labeled as left and right. These mics allow you to record the ambient sound around the camera. The camera also has two external audio inputs located on the front, right-hand side of the camera. These are also labeled as Input 1 and Input 2. Remember that Input 2 is located on the left. On the back of the camera are SD card reader slots 1 and 2. Also in the back is the USB, FireWire, and HDMI plug-ins in the middle left row. In the middle right row, there is the headphone jack, index camera remote, and audio out plugins. Also on the back of the camera, you have where the battery is inserted in the camera and the battery release button. The battery is inserted with the arrow on the battery facing down. When you are properly holding the camera with your right hand, the on and off and playback switch and recording button is where your thumb is. The recording check button, which plays back the last few seconds of what you just shot, is located where your index finger is. And the zoom rocker button, which is located where your middle finger and ring finger should be placed. However, it is recommended that you use a tripod whenever possible. It will provide you with a steady shot. A few key elements are on the front left-hand side of the camera, such as the ND filter, focus that can be in auto or manual mode, and zoom, which can be in auto or manual mode. First, we will discuss the ND filter. When you are shooting indoors, the ND filter is not needed and should be turned off. When shooting outside in cloudy weather, the ND filter needs to be in the 1/4 position. When shooting in mostly sunny weather, the ND filter needs to be in the 1/16 position. When shooting outside in bright conditions, the ND filter needs to be in the 1/64 position. If under or overexposed, the camera will recommend a different ND filter setting by flashing the recommended setting in the center of your viewfinder. The autofocus automatically focuses on the primary target in your field of view. Manual focus mode allows you to turn the focus ring by hand. The push autofocus buttons located right below the focus switch will momentarily focus the camera for you while this button is pressed, even if your focus is on manual. When the button is released, the autofocus stops. Above the focus switch, there is a focus assist button. The focus assist will enlarge the center of the screen, making it easier to bring the subject into focus. However, this button only works in high-definition settings. The iris button switches between auto and manual iris mode. In manual mode, you must turn the iris dial to adjust the aperture of the lens. The bars button is located behind the viewfinder, and when pressed, it records bars and tone. Press again to turn it off. The EVF DTL button is located below the bars button, and it emphasizes the outlines, making it easier to focus, but does not affect the image you record. It remains on the screen for 2 seconds. The zebra pattern located to the right of the EVF DTL button lets you know if parts of your shots are overexposed. These areas are shown with a zebra pattern, allowing you to correct the exposure either with the ND filter or manual iris control. Above the bars button is the optical image stabilizer, abbreviated OIS, on the camera. It is used to reduce the effects of the camera shake, and when turned on, a hand appears on the screen to let you know OIS is engaged. Below the viewfinder, there is the gain control and white balance. These controls can only be used in manual mode. When changing the gain switch, the low mode, L, is used for normal conditions. The medium mode, M, is your first choice if you need a little lighting in your shot, which does not create too much noise. High mode, H, creates a much lighter picture but is very noisy and should only be used when shooting in the dead of night. The shutter speed is located to the right of the gain and white balance switches. Shutter allows you to capture an image faster than 1/30th of a second for crisper, fast action. Turn the shutter dial for faster or slower shutter speeds. Higher shutter speeds will require more light. Next to the zebra button is the audio section. When using the internal microphones, switch channel 1 select to internal left and channel 2 select to internal right. When using an external microphone, connect the microphone to input 2. Check the input 1 and 2 switches. Then, in order to record your microphone to both channels, set channel 1 and channel 2 to input 2. If you are having audio problems, such as low or no levels on the microphones, make sure the audio inputs are set to the correct source and that the audio input is set to mic. If your levels seem to be too low or too high, then adjust the audio level knobs at the back left of the camera. Sometimes you may encounter problems with lighting in your video. If your shot is too dark or too light, it's usually a matter of having the wrong ND filter selected. It's possible that the camera is in manual mode, not allowing the iris to adjust automatically. Another potential over or underexposure problem could be from the shutter setting. If all else fails, it might just be that your lens cap is still on. In your viewfinder, you will find your time code in the top left corner, audio levels in the bottom left corner, auto mode in the top center, iris in the bottom middle, and the power in the top right. On the right side of the screen, you will find auto white, auto gain right below that, auto focus setting, and then the zoom setting. When finished shooting your video, remove the SD card and insert it into your computer to upload your video. But that is how you use a Panasonic AG-AC160P camera.